Let's bring in NBC News guests here. We've got a couple of guests, but first we've reached out to ABC for comments on that meeting. So far, we have not heard back yet. So let's just dive straight into all of this. Misty Marris, our legal analyst, is with us. Also, Rebecca Jennings. She's a feature writer for New York Magazine. Thank you so much for being with us, both of you. Misty, let's start with you and some of these new developments. Dakota Mortensen, the kid's father, was granted a protective order against Paul earlier today. Is this all from the 2023 case? And what is this going to mean for his son, who he shares with Taylor?
So there was another domestic violence incident just this past February where both individuals are making claims against each other. But Dakota Mortensen has gone to the court and asked for a temporary protective order. Now, in order to get that, you have to show that there is an imminent risk to physical safety, and you also got temporary custody of their child. Taylor will have her opportunity to tell her story in court at the next appearance in April. But it's important to note, Gotti, a temporary restraining order like this is done ex parte, meaning Taylor's not involved in the process. The judge assesses whether there's enough to grant the protective order, and then at that upcoming court appearance, there'll be more information provided. But this is definitely a significant development relating to these issues that the two have been involved in.
Interesting. I'll wait to hear more details from that investigation. But, around the same time, Rebecca, you sat down with Taylor Frankie Paul while she was filming The Bachelorette, right? And she's been doing these press tours. It was a big deal up until 3 days ago when they pulled the plug on the entire thing. How did production seem at the time, and what did she tell you?
Yeah, I visited the Bachelorette set in November at Las Vegas Chippendales, and at the time, Taylor was in great spirits. Everything seemed to be running smoothly. She seemed really upbeat behind the scenes and excited to talk to fans and enjoying her time. She later told me that her time filming that show, she felt very taken care of. Like, she didn't have to worry about a thing. Her kids were safe. All she had to do was focus on finding love. And then when I met her 3 months later in February, she was back to her normal life, back to filming Mormon Wives. And that's when she told me a lot about being in this very, very dark place, feeling really overwhelmed, depressed, and taking on too much, not getting any breaks, and just like really struggling. And she had referenced a big meltdown that had recently been captured on camera for season 5 of Mormon Wives. And she was dreading when Mormon Wives season 4 dropped, which was last week, where some of her behavior has been pretty controversial. So she was much happier on set of The Bachelorette, and it seemed like she was really struggling with the transition to filming Mormon Wives and back to her normal life.
Not to get too meta here, but it is so crazy to see all of this drama happen almost out of sequence, right? And the way that you just laid it out, you've got The Bachelorette, the filming there that we may never see, right? And then you've got whatever's happening where police are involved. And then you've got Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is still airing footage from what happened then, right? So I guess it seems as though a full picture is going to be hard to come by, no?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so difficult to make a timeline of all of this. And even, I mean, a week after I spoke to her in February in Salt Lake City, that was when the second alleged incident of domestic violence occurred. And that was while, filming was still ongoing for season 5 of Mormon Wives. And so they film constantly for this show. And so it's almost this rolling drama that we're all watching like 3 months later, which is a tight timeline.
The crazy part about this, and Misty, you know this better than anybody, I mean, so much of these clips, so much of this drama could end up in a courtroom, right? I mean, the incident from 2023, that was not a secret. Paul talked about it on Secret Lives. There was video that they used of, police interacting with her. And now the company is looking at a loss of up to like $30 million if this season doesn't air. I do want to ask, do you see a bunch of lawsuits popping up all over the place, from the production side of things to, possibly castmates to possibly her?
Yeah, that video from 2023 was something that was in possession of police, and investigators actually had that, and it resulted in Taylor Frankie Paul pleading guilty to an aggravated assault, and she's currently on probation relating to that. So now we have the new incident that's reported in February. But keep in mind the impact of this on the Bachelor franchise. As you said, tremendous amount of money. Think about the licensing agreements, the marketing that's gone on, advertisers. You're talking about a whole tower of corporate issues, contracts between all of these entities that are now going to be potentially resulting in litigation. As far as Taylor Frankie Paul, most entertainment contracts include a morality clause or a behavior clause. And those contracts can really dictate what happens in a situation like this. Usually they're quite broad. They say something like you bring a negative light to the organization, to the network, and then there could potentially be damages that are recoverable from that. So there's a lot to come of this. This is really messy, and a lot of different issues, even outside of, just the tragic domestic violence incident. You have all these other corporate issues as well.
Yeah, and Rebecca, I do want to ask, we've got some reporting as well about this meeting that went on between some of the cast members and then possibly ABC, and there was an executive that said something along the lines of, I don't know much, and I don't know if I want to know much, or something along those lines. Is that going to have pretty big implications here?
Well, I feel like ABC was really banking on Taylor Frankie Paul's star power rescuing this franchise from, a series of years of declining ratings. And it's a franchise that also hasn't really kept up to where like dating shows or even like the wider culture is right now. And they were clearly hoping to cash in on her track record of having, making really riveting TV. I think they're probably scrambling right now to how to turn this around when they're getting criticism for hiring Taylor in the first place, when the details of the 2023 incident were already public. It was just the video of it that was new, and criticism from the other side of people who, really wanted to watch the season play out, and now it's canceled and may never be seen before. So I think ABC has a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah, as we all watch those clips, knowing that there's all kinds of drama around that, and as you said, the world may never see it. Misty Marris, Rebecca Jennings, thank you so very much.